Welcome, I'm Lisa, and in this video I'm sharing how I photograph my handmade cards to share on social media platforms. We'll take a photo and do a step-by-step tutorial on editing. I'll share my current setup and share how I used to take photos using nothing but white foam boards that can be picked up at your local big box store or Amazon. We'll talk a little bit about lighting and how it's not just about taking the perfect photo, it's about editing the perfect photo. All of that and more. Welcome to Confetti and Cards with Lisa Mincing. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on new content posted to the channel. So I'm going to show you how I take a quick but effective frontal shot of my cards using the Replica Surfaces Studio. Now, by using items from my craft room, I style the shot. Then I turn the studio so the open side faces my dining room window. I recommend natural light for photographing your cards. Now, when I refer to natural light, I mean the light you get streaming through a window like you see here, not taking your card outside and taking a photo in direct sunlight. There's a big difference between the two. Now, occasionally I need studio lights when it's overcast, but most of my photos are taken using natural light. That being said, I do not recommend the lights shown in this video. There are lights of higher quality available. I purchased these lights many years ago because they were the best I could afford at the time. Here's a picture of my current camera setup. It is a Canon EOS Rebel T61. To me, it's a dinosaur, but it gets the job done. Nowadays, you only need a smartphone to not only take a great photo, but also start your own YouTube channel. So the cube attached to my camera's top there, a level, it's my most recent $9 investment. As I take handheld shots, this little gadget is extremely helpful in keeping my camera level while taking pictures. Now, unlike most people, I use the LCD screen instead of the viewfinder on my camera. The only way I can see anything up close is with glasses because my eyesight is terrible. And because the viewfinder doesn't work well with me with glasses, I've learned to take shots using the LCD screen. I used to take all of my photos in front of a window on my craft desk before purchasing the Replica Surface Studio. In the beginning, I used white foam boards that you typically see in schools for science projects, the same ones you can pick up at big box stores and order online. Now, to hold up the foam boards, I used L-shaped brackets just like the Replica Surfaces here. Now, I'll link those down below for you. After I had my flat lay styled, I gently turned the boards so they were facing the window. Using this method, light is bounced back onto your projects after hitting the upright board. Now, foam boards are an inexpensive way to get started without spending a lot of money up front. I cannot emphasize enough how much I dislike light boxes. I would never recommend one to anyone. As with card making, everything in photography is a matter of personal preference though. Quickly, I'd like to talk about styling your photos and encourage you not to buy a bunch of props. Use the resources you have at your disposal instead. The doilies, fancy scissors, flowers, and other props you see used in photos may seem tempting, but you can find everything you need in the supplies you use to create your card, and oftentimes you'll discover supplies you forgot you had. It's a win-win situation right there. So products that I grab for most often are foils, ribbon, ink pads are amazing, scissors, also markers, water pens, paints, paint brushes. Anything that you have in your craft room, you can use for your props in your photos. So I love using all different kinds of ink pads. The smaller ones are great. Little bottles of embossing powders, re-inkers. Also, don't forget you can scatter sequins and polymer clays around your projects on your white foam boards. You can also use embossing folders, paper pads, 6x6 papers, individuals, or you can use 12x12 papers to create a nice background. Anything in your craft room, make use of it. So when I'm editing photos, I'm using Adobe Lightroom, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this once we get through the process. Here I'm coming in and adding my photo into the software. All you do is hit add photos up at the top, and then once the files open, you click on the files you want to bring into the program and then hit add photos. And you can see I have 2 photos here that we're going to look at, and these are the same photos that you saw earlier in the video. So let's go ahead and resize these. So we're going to click this button to the right over here, and that's where we come to resize our photos. Now I want my photos sized 16 by 9 because that's the size I'm using for my videos. So I go ahead and click 16 by 9, and you can see where it's cropped it down. Now you can actually pull it in even more to crop it more if you want, and then you can move that photo around. You can straighten it up by dragging on the corner there and turning it left and right. Once I have it cropped the way that I want it, I'm going to go ahead and hit that button one more time, and it's going to crop it for me. And now we're in the edit section. Now, when I first started using this program, I had no clue of what I was doing. I just went in there and started using it. So I'm going to actually go through all of these settings here with you. So you have exposure, contrast, you have highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. And those are the things that I use most. So for the exposure, I usually go no more than 145. And it always depends on the photo and how the light was coming through the window. So for your exposure, that's going to control the lightness of the photo. For the contrast, that controls the contrast between the light and dark colors. So if you move this slider to the left, it's going to flatten that difference. And if you move it to the right, it's going to make it more dramatic. Also, highlights, that controls the lighter parts of your photo. The shadows control the darker parts of your photo, while the whites adjust the whites, and moving that to the right will make more colors appear white. And the black adjusts the blacks in the photo, and moving it to the left will make more colors appear black. Now I use all of those settings, and I usually hit auto, I check the photo out, and then I start making my adjustments from there. I also like to sharpen the photo if it needs it, and I just move it to the right to sharpen those details. And then luminance is a noise reduction. It kind of cleans that photo up a little bit, smooths it out. I really like that, but you have to be careful with that because too much and it will really take your photo from looking natural to unnatural, and you don't want that. Now, lens correction is something I use every time, and lens correction just corrects any lens errors that occur while you're taking your photo, like distortion, blurring, bulging, and edge darkness. Now, once I have all of these set and I'm happy with the way the photo looks, I'm going to go up to File and click Edit in Photoshop because there's a couple of things that I do in Photoshop just to tweak it a little bit more. Some people might think it's overkill. A lot of the things you just saw me do here in Lightroom, you can also do in Photoshop. I personally find Lightroom more user-friendly than Photoshop, and I'm really quick with the Lightroom. So while we're waiting for Photoshop to go ahead and load, I do want to let you know that when I first started doing photos, I didn't have a clue about these programs. I didn't know how to use them, but I was determined to use them. So what I did was I just sat down and I started playing with them. And the more that I used them, the more I learned. And now it's like just second nature to me. However, with that being said, I have only scratched the surface of what these programs are capable of doing. So now that we're in Photoshop, I went ahead and I clicked up at the top there. There's a tab for image. And then I went to adjustments and then levels. And then I just click auto. And I let Photoshop show me what it thinks needs to be adjusted. If I'm happy with that adjustment, I'll go ahead and click OK. If I'm not, then I'll make the adjustments myself and then go ahead and click OK. I go back up to image and then I scroll down to image size and I go ahead and size my photo. And a lot of times when you're doing this, you want to go ahead and size your photo in Photoshop because it won't cause any distortion or any pixelation or anything like that with your photo. You're going to have a nice clean resizing of that photo. Also, you can go in and check out the brightness and the contrast in here if you want to. But like I said, I feel like Lightroom is the best photo editing software. I think you get a lot of options. You know, you do have to pay for it. And that's one of the things that I know a lot of crafters have limited budgets. So what you want to do is find a program that you can use, whether it be free or one you pay for, and learn how to use that program the best that you can. Learn what each setting in that program means. Learn about exposure, learn about contrast. And I found the best way to learn is hands-on. So that's how I learn best. So by coming into these programs and continually using them over and over and over, I have just taught myself how to use them. That's what I recommend. And you have to do it over and over and over in order to retain that information. And the more you use it, the easier it becomes and the more you're going to learn. Take advantage of YouTube, take advantage of Google, take advantage of Pinterest. Those are places that you can go to learn about all of these programs. There are so many free YouTube videos on how to use Adobe programs and apps. You can even get the Lightroom app for your phone. You can buy presets for this app and software, and you just have to load the presets into your program. And then when you put your photos in, you just go into the presets, click the preset that you want to use, and then it'll go ahead and do all the work for you. So like I said, though, you need to find a program that is in your budget range and one that you are comfortable using, and use it repeatedly. Hopefully I shared some useful knowledge with you, and if you need more information, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, you can find more information about sizing photos for social media on my blog. The link is down below. Also, I have some links for products that I recommend. Don't forget to hit that notification bell because I have a new video coming very soon on how to organize your IKEA Alex drawers, and you're not going to want to miss that. So until then, please take care.